Okay, so here we're going to look at global warming. So we said in our previous videos we were looking at combustion, and one of the main products of complete combustion was carbon dioxide. Okay, and now that's very much linked to our global warming. So if this is the Earth, and this is the sun here. So the sun is what's transferring energy to Earth, isn't it? The sun is where we get our heat and our light from, so there's energy being transferred to the Earth. Now, around the Earth, we've got the atmosphere. Now, we would not be able to survive on Earth if it wasn't for our atmosphere. The atmosphere is what keeps our planet warm. It's what provides us oxygen. Now, that's one of the problems of going to different planets in the solar system, is that it's so cold because they don't have atmospheres like our Earth. Because the atmosphere helps keep some of this energy that's hitting the Earth. Some of that energy would be reflected off the Earth, okay? And then some would be transferred out, but then some would be absorbed by the gases in the atmosphere and reflected back into the Earth. So that's what keeps our Earth at a good temperature, okay? Now, what's the problem with global warming? What's the problem with too much carbon dioxide? So carbon dioxide, which is the main gas that makes one of the main gases that contributes to global warming, and although it's only a small part of the atmosphere, it's what is one of the main gases that contributes to global warming. So when our concentration of carbon dioxide increases, and it's carbon dioxide, but also one of the main ones is methane, which is the waste gas you may hear from. There's a problem with having too many cows, and that's all eating too much meat, is the waste gas that the cows produce. So what that does is change our atmosphere. Now, instead of lots of this energy escaping away from the Earth like it does what it was doing, what is happening is that this carbon dioxide and this methane is absorbing more of this energy and reflecting more of it back into the Earth. It's absorbing it and reflecting more of it back to Earth. That means there's less energy escaping. And if we're absorbing more back into the Earth, the temperature of the planet increases. Now that is why this is called, because if you think about it, if this atmosphere is changing, this is how a greenhouse works. And that's why it's called a greenhouse effect. In the same way that the light energy can get through the glass, and the heat energy can get through the glass, but when it reflects back, some of it is trapped. Now a good question might be, well, surely if there's just more of this stuff in the atmosphere, surely there's just going to be less getting through in the first place. But it doesn't work quite like that. The energy changes slightly once it interacts with the Earth. So there's just, all this contributes to is there's less energy escaping, which is this greenhouse effect. It means there's more energy trapped from the sun, which means the temperature of the Earth is increasing. Okay, only slightly. It could only be by 1 or 2 degrees, but 1 or 2 or 3 degrees is enough to have a significant impact on the Earth. Okay, it's enough to have cause massive problems like melting the ice caps and things. Okay, now it is true that the temperature of the Earth does fluctuate, and naturally over thousands upon thousands of years, the temperature of the Earth does fluctuate, and it does increase and decrease. That's how we have the Ice Age and things. However, what scientists think is that there is global warming, this effect from how us humans producing too much carbon dioxide from our activities, is increasing the rate of change, and it's now unnatural. We're changing it too much, we're changing it too quickly. So what are the main things that end up producing carbon dioxide to the atmosphere? So a big thing is going to be from logging, humans cutting down trees. Okay, now if we think photosynthesis takes in carbon dioxide to give out oxygen. Well, if there's less trees from us cutting them down, that means there's less plants taking in carbon dioxide from the Earth's atmosphere. We could also then be burning one reason we could be cutting them down is to burn them for fuel. Now we know combustion, we release carbon dioxide when we burn fuels. Now another big thing is the burning of fossil fuels that we use to help produce electricity. So this is massive. If these fossil fuels are being burnt, we are releasing carbon dioxide into the atmosphere. So remember, fossil fuels are things like coal, oil, and gas. And then a third thing which contributes to methane being in the atmosphere is farming, so cattle. Okay, so cattle produce the waste gas of methane. Methane is actually is quite a significant greenhouse gas. It's per gram, has more of an effect than carbon dioxide, but the main culprit is carbon dioxide. So we look at a graph here. It's showing that over time, we're significantly increasing the amount of carbon dioxide that is produced in a very short period of time, over 100 years or so, as the human population has massively grown, as we are using way more electricity and things, as the world becomes more developed and countries become more developed, we're using way more electricity, so we're using way more fossil fuels. So as the human population expands, this is only going to get worse and worse until we do something to stop producing less greenhouse gases like carbon dioxide. Now that could be, a main thing is help limit how much logging we do, or it could be eating less meat, or it could be, instead of using fossil fuels to produce electricity, using some renewable things like solar or wind power. And those are huge things that could help us slow down global warming, because it's happening too quickly. Instead of happening over thousands upon thousands of years, it's happening over a short 100 or 200 years.